And welcome back to Pokemon Team Creation Series. Today's Pokemon team comes from CJN, who asked the question, what is the Pokemon team of the Master of Disaster, the Master of Calamity, Vash The Stampede, the goofy, lovable plant human who loves donuts but is tormented and lonely all at once. Vash, I don't actually remember watching a lot of Trigun when I grew up, when I was a kid. I got a bit more into it and later in life, but I never hated it. It was on. I never actually watched a lot of it, but still, I knew of it and I liked the character. I liked the character's design. So later in life, as you know, I got older and paid more attention to such things. I would watch it, and I liked Trigun. I like it, and Vash is a cool protagonist. He's a very unique protagonist. Not unique overall. We got a lot of those happy-go-lucky but tormented characters all the time. But he was a little different, at least for the time, than say nowadays. But you can say he was the grandfather. So what would a Pokemon team for this guy look like? Well, I knew for sure that I could not do a guy who has a love for donuts without including our brand new donut Pokemon, Fido. The dog literally has donuts for ears and a donut around its neck. He's sweet, tasty, and adorable. But yes, now that as we get more and more Pokemon from Gen 9 coming out, I can add more and more of them to the team videos. And this is one that fits. This would just be his sweet little donut dog guy. So that's taken care of. I knew also that we need some plant Pokemon on the team. We need some grass types. And I knew this because Vash isn't human. Vash is a sentient humanoid plant being that is capable of tapping into like a vast energy reserve that normal humans can't tap into. So I knew that was on the list. But who was going to go on the list or on the team? One was Lunacolo. Lunacolo is a weird one, but it actually represents, I think, that Vash pretty well. It's a plant, so makes sense. The grass type Mon gets put on with the plant humanoid. But Lunacolo represents that half of Vash that is a lot more goofy and silly, as Lunacolos often are, just dancing out, like, Lunacolo, Lunacolo, Lunacolo. Like, that's just kind of how they present. And Lunacolos aren't bad Pokemon. I was having a discussion with a buddy of mine at work, who's big into Pokemon as well. And we were going over designs, and Lunacolo is a pretty solid Mon. It is a terrible looking design, though. I do not like Lunacolo. Gen 3 might be my favorite gen, but I won't sugarcoat designs that are terrible. Lunacolo is not a very good design. It is a sombrero hat kappa. What? So, yeah, but still, I think that actually fit pretty well. The other grass type, you'll actually be surprised to know there's only 2 grass types on this team. I knew had to be something that was a little bit more akin to his serious side, the fact that he's a very dangerous individual, the fact that he's a lot older than he looks, something that gives off a bit more of that loner vibe. I went with Decidueye for this. Now, I could have gone maybe more like a Sceptile, which has that kind of serious side personality that we got from the anime with Ashes, or I could have gone something more the route of trying to think of a few more that kind of fit that profile. I could have gone something maybe more like on the dark type side or whatever, but ultimately I like Decidueye. It's humanoid in shape, which is very important here because Vash is a humanoid. It might be a plant, but he's also a humanoid. It's humanoid in shape. It's ghost type. I like it a little bit to the fact that he is a lot older than he looks, although I have Mon that represent that more effectively down the road, down the list here. And it's a pretty skilled marksman, which Vash is. So, ultimately, I like Decidueye. This is one, though, that could have been rotated out for a different Mon. One of the things, though, that's very important was to get a Mon on the team that represented the concept of absorbing and gathering energy into itself to use for different abilities. And in theory, any Mon that can use Synthesis or Solar Beam can do this, but I want a Mon that really stuck out to me. So I had to think on that for a little while, and I'm thinking on it like, okay, Mon that absorb energy specifically like due to their nature or what they are. And I came to using one of 2 Mon. I could either use the Mon of Death / Destruction or the Mon of Life. I chose Xerneas for this. Xerneas is the Pokemon of creation / it's a life Pokemon. It's the Pokemon that represents life itself. A fairy. It spends a lot of time slumbering in a cocoon, absorbing energy, and then it wakes up, does its thing, and then goes back to sleep. Yveltal is the same way, except it absorbs life force and just destroys everything around while doing it. So I felt that Yveltal was a better option for this, as Vash is someone who does believe more in the hopeful, good side of humanity, whereas his brother Knives, I believe it was, doesn't. So Knives could get Yveltal, whereas Vash would get Xerneas. So I do like, and Xerneas is capable of using many different types of beam attacks, which is something Vash can kind of do, in mostly just firing like a big energy blast with his angel arm. Speaking of which, something to represent a little bit of the angel abilities, like the angel wings and all that, but more importantly to represent the idea that he constantly brings disaster and destruction with him would be Absol. Particularly Mega Absol. Now, Mega Absol was more of kind of the fact that I didn't have a proper Absol pick ready on hand. But B, when I thought about it and reading Vash's abilities, I'm like, well, no, he has the Angel Wing thing going on there. He still is the Pokemon of, I keep forgetting, is it the Disaster Pokemon? I think that's what Absol's moniker is. Hold on, what was it known as again? Absol. Absol, where are you, Absol? There you are. So yeah, Absol, what is it known as again? The Disaster Pokemon, which kind of fits with that, as he's known to just kind of bring disaster wherever he goes. So this one actually made a lot of sense to me. And then adding the Mega Evolution on there kind of represents the upgraded forms Vash can take if need be, accessing energy, special energy to do so. Last but not least, as I said earlier, I needed a Pokemon that, A, could also use something that would be representative of the Angel Arm ability. So a giant F-off blast that is, devastating. And B, something that represented how old Ash, because Ash is like 130 at the beginning of the series, yet he looks like a guy only in his 20s. Like because he's not human, he doesn't age the same way. So I wanted a Pokemon I knew was very long-lived and could live a long time. Had not really changed its appearance. And one of the mons that fits with that description is Ninetales. Ninetales is also capable of learning Solar Beam, which is an attack that is charged and fired, which is very similar to the Angel Arm. So this I actually felt was a really solid option. Also, the whole being loyal to its masters. Vash is kind of a lonely guy, so he enjoys the interactions of people. So having this on his team would kind of be a good representation of him seeking companionship, because Ninetales are very loyal. So I like Ninetales on the team. I think if I were to change anything on the team, it might be Lunacolo, maybe Decidueye, but I would just swap them out for more grass types. So what do you think of this team for Vash Stampede? Sadly, there is no firearm Pokemon. There's no cannon, nothing like that. The closest you have is Ramarade, who is technically based off a revolver, and then Octillery, which is a tank technically, but that's about it. What would you do differently for Vash the Stampede's Pokemon team if you were to do anything different? Let me know in the comments below. But until then, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you folks for the next one. Later.